Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? This child that you delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would calm a storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, you've kissed the face of God. The blind will see, the deaf will hear, and the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb. Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord of all creation? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? This sleeping child you're holding is the great I am. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and ask the rest of the band members to come on up and join us up here.
Hey guys, there will be lyrics on the screen, so sing along. There, you should know every single one of these songs.
You can dance too. Just sing.
Leah will make you.
It's coming, guys.
It's
It's coming.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Christ by highest heaven adored, Christ the everlasting Lord. Late in time, behold him come, offspring of the Virgin's womb. Veiled in flesh, the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity. Pleased as man with men to dwell, Jesus our Emmanuel. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
All right, the next one, I'm going to ask you all to stand because we're going to get moving on this one. So, everybody stand and join us for What a
Especially
Glorious
you,
Night.
Evan.
Here we go.
The shepherds came to see the baby, stood by his mother's side. Here laid the Savior inside a manger. Oh, what a glorious night. Oh, what a glorious night.
I hear the angels singing, hallelujah, let the earth receive her King. I know that love has come, sing it out, Jesus Christ is born. Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds wondered Sing it out. Jesus Christ is born.
Let's get moving.
I hear the angels singing. Hallelujah, let the earth receive the King. I know that love has come. Sing it out. Jesus Christ is born. Jesus Christ is born.
All is calm now, all is quiet, a star shining in the sky. Below in Bethlehem, the king is sleeping. Oh, what a glorious night.
Oh, what a glorious night.
Woo, thanks, guys.
I like the dance moves. Some people were like, it's great.
So that's good. That's good.
People were into it.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight. Walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the new bird. Here to stay is the new bird. Who sings a love song as we go along. Walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland.
Okay, we're going to take a little break from music, and I'm going to invite Kenneth back up because he's going to share a little message with us.
How do you follow that? Wasn't that awesome? Oh my God. Okay, so just to give you an insight, part of the reason why I'm coming up here and saying, oh, do I need a mic? Yeah, you do. All right, okay. Does this mic? Yeah, all right, I feel cool now. This is nice. Where was I at? Oh, why I'm coming up here and talking a little bit. Part of, I don't know if most of you know, but a lot of us actually come to Ivy weekly. We come on Monday nights here, and Pete and Tracy, some of the pastors here, have graciously allowed us to be here for almost like a year now, right? Haven't we been here almost a year? So thank you, LifeBridge. Let's just give them a round of applause. They are, I know, yell, scream, like girls. So one thing we do is we do music. Sometimes we eat, sometimes we have coffee and stuff like that. But one of the things we traditionally do is we always talk about something that we could do better in our spiritual lives, some of the things that we can do better as couples, as singles, and all these different things, because we have all different kinds of people that come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a little bit of something that I shared, I think it was like 9 months ago. It was this thing called the Principle of the Path. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it was not necessarily because I was a smart person that originally heard it, thought about it and stuff, There's another pastor, his name's Andy Stanley, and he kind of came up with this idea. But since then, I've kind of had a couple more thoughts that even with the IV people that heard it 9 months or whatever ago can probably learn something new. So what I thought we'd talk about is the principle of the path. And just for the IV people that were there, raise your hands if you remember me talking about that, like how long ago was it? Does anybody know? It was like 5 months ago? Okay, I've just had a lot going on in the last 5 months. So does anybody remember what the actual principle was?
What captures my attention affects my direction and ultimately my destination.
Boom! Yes! Oh, let's give him a round of applause. Holy moly. You get 10,000 points. And what's that show where the points don't matter? You know? I'm not as funny as them. But yes, what captures my attention affects my direction, ultimately determines my destination. And one of the other things that we talked about was that around this time of year, there is New Year's coming up. I don't know if you've prepared for that yet. But after Christmas, New Year's comes, there's resolutions, there's all these different hopes and dreams and things that I don't know if they've not happened for you, but some of them haven't happened for me. I was like, yeah, so I was going to get big and buff, and, I was going to stop eating junk food, and then Hillary brought those freaking amazing cookies, and I was like, oh. So, but no, we have all these hopes and dreams and stuff like that, but raise your hand if you've ever had something that you started at New Year's not come true. Okay, everyone look around. The people that aren't raising their hands are lying. Okay, so it's true. We've all had times where we kind of, we forget what we're doing, and oh, well, maybe on Monday I'll start it, or I'll just start tomorrow. And so I may be the only one talking from that experience, but this principle of the path, it really is something we used about 5 months ago, apparently, to help us as young adults understand, okay, how come the things that I want to happen intentionally, and I intentionally prepare for them, and I study late, I get up early, I stay at work late, and then sometimes they just don't come true. Why, us as young adults, how do we wrestle with that? And for all the people that are much wiser than me in the room, they can understand, and they've probably already gotten a little bit of this, but kind of relax while some of us, kind of hit this for the first time. So one of the things that we were talking about is that direction, not intention, will determine our destination. It's not necessarily our well, I planned on, or I had prepared for, or well, I hoped for. It's more of, well, what I actually did, or what were my actual decisions, or did I actually go there? Did I actually get up at that time? Did I actually not do this? Did I actually purposely do this? And so one thing we decided was that, okay, direction, not intention, will determine our destination. So as you set some of these things, in the back of your mind, like, well, I'm going to gain, I'm going to lose, I'm going to add, I'm going to subtract, whatever it is this, coming season. And I know a lot of us right now, we're buying, last minute gifts. We're saying, oh, but they got so many kids, oh my gosh, I just finished finals, can I catch a break? There's all these different things going through our heads, but a lot of those are intentions, right? We have in the back of our head some intentions of, well, I think this year, because I didn't last year, I'll add blah, 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 or I'll subtract blah, blah, blah. So can we all get that? Does everybody kind of follow me? Okay, cool. So let's just repeat. I know this is something that I do, but let's just repeat just so we kind of maybe can take something away. Just the phrase direction, not intention, determines our destination. Ready, set, go. Direction, not intention, determines our destination. And just imagine, like in Disney films, like the words like right below me, since they're not on the screen, and we'll be able to follow along real nicely. So there's this thing. It's a great book. It's called the Bible, and it has a lot of things. It has a lot of things to say, and I don't necessarily need you to agree with everything in it, and I don't necessarily need you to say you believe whatever, but I would, just like a lot of other people, would agree that it has a lot of really great insights about how to live our lives, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you come from a faith background or not, whether you're just completely out of it or not. It has some really good insights. So if you do have a Bible, or if you even have a cell phone with a Bible on it, I'm going to be in Proverbs chapter 4 and chapter 3. It's not going to take very long. I just want to kind of read these couple verses because they're really good. So if you have, go ahead and whip it out. But let's just go over, someone go to Proverbs chapter 4 and then verse 25. And then raise your hand when you're there if you'd like to say it out loud. And there's a lot of people here, so you may be the extrovert in the room. Proverbs chapter 4 and then verse 25. Dibs. Go ahead. So do 25 to 27. What are you? Dakota, come on. No, you're good. And then someone else, hey, Mitch, will you do Proverbs 3, 5 through 6 when I call on you? I feel like I'm going to trip and fall with this thing. How do pastors do this? Pete, how do you do this? This is like intense. This is wireless? That's that. I just thought that was another pastor like Jesus speaking into your ear like as you talk. No, okay. Yes, chapter 4 and then 25 through 27. You got it?
Yep.
Do it. Go for it.
Let your eyes look directly forward, and your gaze be straight before you. Ponder the path of your feet, then all your ways will be sure. Do not swerve to the right or to the left. Take your foot away from you.
Nice. So just so everybody knows, that's like my third favorite verse in the Bible. So it's not my first favorite. It's not my second favorite, but it's my third. But let's go to the one that is my second favorite, which is chapter 3, 5 through 6.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight.
Yes, yes. Okay, so the reason that I like that verse more than the other one is not necessarily because some are better than others. It just really hit me when I was being a complete butthead in my own life. I know it's, no one resonates with that, but there were times where I was making bad decisions, and luckily my wife, Caroline, she's playing piano, and she did a really great job. It's my shout out, brownie points. So, but we were going through a tough time, and I was trying to grasp why the heck all these intentions that I had. I was trying to be the perfect guy so that she'd have no choice but to marry me. Like oh, I'm so good. And then lo and behold, I'm not the perfect guy. And then finally I found out because she told me, and I was like, okay. And so then I actually sought out some counsel from a really good friend, and he was telling me, that some of the things, we may view it one way as a guy, and ladies view it differently. And this verse I read at the time when this person had encouraged me to read my Bible every day, but not just read it to, okay, finally I'm going to get through, Numbers and Deuteronomy and these books, but to actually try and get something out of it when you read it, not just the, hey, so I read my Bible every day, kudos to me. And so one thing I got out of it was this verse, chapter 3, 5 through 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And hearing that verse, for me, if you, and when you get to know me at all, I thought for a really long time, and sometimes I still slip into the fact that I think I know what I'm doing. And for only being on the earth 23 years, how many people that are, and don't tell me how much, but that are older than me can tell me that I don't know anything? Yeah, right. He's like, you got a ways to go, man. And I finally found that out. It was like instead of leaning onto my own understanding, there's someone else that has a better idea of how to live my life. And so one of the things that when we were talking about this 5 months ago, this principle of the path, was that when we're making decisions, we make them based on something, and that information comes from friends, family, the internet. Now you can get anything from the internet, and sometimes it comes from ourselves. You ponder late at night when you can't fall asleep, and so, but very rarely will you go into school or will you go into your family dinner and go, hey, so God really told me, blah 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 blah, or hey, teacher, I really found out. I felt like God was really saying, and then something, We don't really have those conversations. We always, well, I heard that Barack Obama, or I heard that Mrs. Smith, or I heard, my mom said. All of our decisions are based and filtered through things that really come through people that don't necessarily have all the knowledge and the information. Not to bash on any parents or even myself, but God knows way better how to live our lives than we do. Does that make sense? Yeah, you don't have to agree. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So what I was getting from this passage was that about 5 months ago, we were talking about it, and that it's not necessarily the leaning on our family and politicians and friends and teachers and stuff is a bad thing. It's just that we have to have something that's far less fragile to lean on, because human relationships are fragile. Sometimes it's something you can't control. It's not that you were a bad friend or you were a bad parent. Someone just passed away. It's not that they were a bad friend or they were a bad brother or sister. They just moved away, and I can't talk to them as much as you could. Now you can because of Skype, but sometimes it's no one's fault. It just is. Does that make sense? Have we all been there at some point in time? So these relationships and these things are fragile, and what we decided to do is there something that's not fragile that we can base our decisions on that can get us to where we want to go? Because a lot of times we just don't end up where we want to go. Right? Can I get an amen? Is anyone Pentecostal in here? No? Okay, never mind. But we really, sometimes we just don't get to where we want to be, and then we're sitting there thinking, how come this relationship didn't work out? How come this church didn't feed me like it should? How come that friend just bailed on me for blah, blah, blah? How come this happened? And so we decided, instead of leaning on these fragile things, why don't we just lean on what God tells us? Or how come we just don't trust in the Lord and lean not onto our own understanding or our own understanding as a people, as a human, as a human nature, but onto God's understanding and trust that he's going to make our path straight? That is ballsy, right? That is like, okay, I am like, I'm trusting in something I can't see. I'm trusting in something that I can't really hear sometimes. And I'm trusting in something that completely disappears from me every once in a while. And not just for like minutes, but sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. And sometimes you don't hear from him for a very long time. If you're Israel, it was about 500 years, okay? And so what we have to do is we decided, let's lean onto God's understanding and not our own. Now, if that comes from your Bible, if that comes from, your prayer life, I'm not the one to judge, to tell you where you get your Jesus from. But what I do want to tell you is that is important. To get it, to filtering it through something that's not fragile and that's not going to break down, is very, very important. And so I'm just going to ask, I know, Mitch, do you still have that verse? Do you just want to read it one more time, because it sounds better coming from you? So.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight.
So when we started talking about practical things, because one thing we like to do at IV is we like to make things practical instead of just ethereal and spiritual and all these different things, because we can't really apply that, right? And it's really tough to say, well, go be a better dad, go be a better brother, go be a better mother, go be a better whatever. It's hard to just, okay, so then what does that look like, right? So we decided that, as young adults, because we're not going to be perfect all the time, and so what we need to do is we need to set up guardrails in our lives that aren't going to necessarily let us get off course, and they're going to let us know when we start to get off course, if our friends don't already, like, dude, what are you doing? But what we decided to do is that these guardrails would allow us to live our lives by the decisions we make and not necessarily by the intentions that we make. So when I'm intending to be there on time, my decision to hit the snooze button 3 more times overrides my intention to be there at 9 a.m., right? So, Courtney's like, always, yes, and it's true. Openly, admittedly, but we decided that we need to have these guardrails in our lives. Now, I can't tell you what everyone's situation is in here, but everyone in here needs guardrails. And I know I won't spoil anything from the Star Wars movie, but one of my favorite movies, this guy, he's in this situation, and he, like every movie, someone's about to die, and he says, you have to live within the balance like the rest of us, and he's fighting, I don't know, I don't want to, he's the rebel, and he ends up hurting himself because he leaves these boundaries that everyone is telling him, no, it's not, is it your opinion? Is it your faith? It's something that is, like gravity. You cannot believe in gravity, but it's still going to happen to you, right? And so what we decided is that these guardrails are an is thing for us. It's not something that, well, I'm of this denomination. I believe in this. I'm not even a Christian. I'm not even Buddhist. I'm not even whatever. It's one of those things that we decided it's just an is. Guardrails have to apply to all of us, because